welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. I'm Bob Matthews. This is your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Local 53. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of our coverage because we are getting close to training camp. As a matter of fact, that is our top story today. We have officially got the training camp dates for the NFL, and guess what? We're less than a month away from the first teams and the first players reporting to the first camp. The LA Chargers are the first team that's going to report. Their camp gets underway in El Segundo on July 12th. You heard right, July 12th. Now, as for the Commanders, rookies report to Ashburn on July 18th. Veterans reporting after that. The vets will report on the 22nd. But hard to believe, we are literally less than a month away. Some of the other early reportees, the Giants are going to report on July 15th. The Eagles have everybody coming in on the 22nd. Giants, like the Commanders, will have the rookies report first. And as for the Cowboys, they have everybody reporting on July 21st. So Commanders will be the first team in the division, I guess. Second team in the division, getting into camp this year. Yep, that's right. 1 month from today, Commanders rookies report to camp. They've also got two joint practices. I'll get it out here eventually. They've got two joint practices scheduled this year. The first one will be with the New England Patriots. That's going to be on August 6th. That one in Foxborough before they play the preseason game up there. And then the second one is August 21st with the Ravens before the game against the Ravens in the DMV. Noticeable, and I think kind of interesting that they've got two joint practices this year. Remember back during the Jay Gruden era, there were quite a few years, and I believe with Ron Rivera as well, when there were zero joint practices. I think it's extremely important that you have those joint practices because, let's face it, it's gotten to the point where, and with only 3 preseason games, you get a little bit of work in that second preseason game. You get maybe a half with the starters, 0 in the third. You get about a quarter in the first game. They will tell you, all the coaches and players will tell you, a lot of the work, a tremendous amount of the work during the preseason happens with those joint practices. You don't hold them, you are really behind the 8 ball. I'm glad to see the Commanders are doing 2 of them, the 3 weeks of games during training camp. All right, want to bring you up to date, the latest on Noah Brown. If you didn't see it yesterday in the comment section, I said I would post it, and after we got off the air yesterday, we did start getting some reports. Nothing official because the club is under no obligation since this is technically really the offseason now with nobody in the facility officially. They don't have to give any updates on injuries. But Noah Brown is going to be appearing at an event that he is organizing. I believe it's back in Missouri. It's on his Instagram page. So that tends to lead us to believe, again, we're reading the tea leaves a little here, but leads us to believe that means it wasn't serious and there wasn't any kind of surgery that was necessary. Obviously, since it just happened, earlier this week, last week, if, you're recovering from surgery, chances are you are not going to be flying to Missouri and then, taking part in any kind of event. So I would have to say, if I had to bet money, I would say Noah Brown is probably going to be a full go for training camp, and that is very good news. For those of you that were hoping Jair Alexander might be joining the Commanders' defensive backfield, that is not going to happen. It broke late yesterday that Alexander is going to Baltimore and reunited with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. A 1-year deal worth a minimum of $6 million. There's another $2 million in incentives, at least that's according to Adam Schefter. So, a big upgrade for, the Ravens, bully for them, getting a guy like Alexander who still is an upper echelon defensive back. I know a lot of folks here were thinking that, was there a chance? And we heard the chattering class, the last few weeks speculating on, does Jair Alexander make sense for the Commanders and do they make a move to get him? They don't, they didn't, and they're not going to. And I really think that as of right now, unless there is somebody that really jumps out at them that's a salary cap casualty during training camp, I think Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are going into this season with what they got. They're going to make do with what they got. They think they have, well, obviously it's not a perfect roster. They feel like they've got, especially on defense, enough guys in enough positions that I know we're all worried about, edge rusher. We talked about Trey Hendrickson yesterday and his continuing talks with the Bengals. I think they feel they've got enough other pieces in other positions they can manufacture a pass rush some way other than just have the defensive ends get up the field. Finally, and again, it's the time of year for it. All of these stories out there and that's what I want to do is try and make sure that you guys aren't freaking out about reading things on the internet, because there is just so much chatter out there that is nothing more than people looking for clicks. There was a headline on a story at heavy.com that said NFL coordinator warns Commanders about Laramie Tunsil. Look, I am sure, the guy that wrote this, James Dudko, who was quoting, again, another guy, and I am looking for his name here at the, literally the bottom of the story. Again, both of these guys, I'm sure that they are really nice guys. They seem to technically write well. But you read into the story, and it's much to do about nothing, as it always is this time of year. So the story is somebody gets a quote from an quote unquote anonymous coordinator there in saying that that Tunsil is still a top flight offensive tackle, but that he can get a little bored sometimes on the field, and because of that his play suffers. But then the article then goes, the guy, whoever it was that was quoted, because it was anonymous, said that, well, I think that getting a fresh start in Washington will motivate him to be a better player. Yeah, no kidding. That's kind of how this kind of works, especially when you're somebody of an all-pro level. So, again, if you happen to see that headline out there, I really wouldn't worry about it. Again, and you're going to see a lot of these type of stories here in the next few weeks. With nothing going on, nobody in the facility, nothing going on the field, it's going to be just people looking for content. There's absolutely nothing to worry about with Laramie Tunsil at this point. Hey, maybe he comes in and he's a huge bust. I can't predict the future, but at this point, everything is on schedule. Believe me, if there are problems, we are going to let you know about it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Remember, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You guys have been fantastic with that. We'll have some viewer mail for you tomorrow. And like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.